Hello, Algebra students. Today you're going to solve, our lesson target is going to be about solving addition and subtraction equations. And you're going to have to be able to read a word problem, figure out what equation goes for that, write the equation, and solve it for addition and subtraction equations. So most of it is a review, but some of the word problems might be challenging. So let's get started. Okay guys, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and copy down the lesson target. That's how we're starting each lesson. So our lesson target, first we're going to solve addition and subtraction equations by adding the inverse. And then we're going to solve real-world problems by writing addition and subtraction equations and then solving them. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video while everybody gets that copied down. Okay, the first page starts out pretty simple. They're asking us to just solve equations by adding the inverse. So when we solve equations, our objective is to isolate the variable. So in problem one, actually in all of these questions, I guess, our variable is x, and our goal is to get it on one side of the equation by itself. So pretty straightforward. We're going to add the opposite so that the thing that's with it goes away and it's by itself, and we can see its identity or what it's equal to. So if I look here, x plus 1 is equal to 5. The opposite of a plus 1 would be to add a negative 1. Plus 1, negative 1 goes to 0. So on this side of the equation, I only have x left. On the other side of the equation, I also am going to add a negative 1, so that both sides stay balanced. And we've had those discussions before, so I think that makes sense to everybody. So 5 minus 1 is 4, so x is equal to 4. If I asked you to check that, you would take this 4 and substitute it in for x, and it would be 4 plus 1 equals 5, 5 equals 5, so it checks. Okay? Number 2, we're going to add the opposite, and this time the x is on the opposite side of the equation, but it doesn't matter. We're going to add a negative 2 to this side so that that goes to 0. We're going to add a negative 2 to the 7 so that both sides stay balanced, and I get 5 is equal to x. Okay? And if I were going to check that, or I asked you to check that, you would rewrite the equation, but you would put your answer in for x. So 7 equals 5 plus 2, and then 7 equals 7, so it checks. And I'm not going to ask you to check all of them, but I may ask you to check some of them. Go ahead and work the next 3 problems, check them with each other, and then we're going to go to the next page. So you can pause it while all 3 of you work the next 3 problems. Okay, so 6 through 8, the question is different. It says rewrite each equation with addition, then state the number that should be added to each side. So remember, we can rewrite a subtraction problem as an addition problem if we add the opposite. So this equation would be x plus negative 7 equals 12. And the number that would be added to each side would be a plus 7. So plus 7 would be added. And they didn't ask us to solve it, they just asked us to rewrite it as addition and then state the number that would be added. So that's what we just did. Okay, so number 7, the same thing. It's x minus a negative 1. I can write it as an addition problem if I add the opposite. So it's going to be, the equation is just going to end up being x plus 1 equals negative 5. And then the number that's going to be added to both sides is going to be a negative 1 added to both sides. Okay? Number 8, I'm going to change it to an addition problem by adding the opposite. So the equation will look like negative 4 equals x plus negative 2. Okay? And the number that will be added is the number that's on the same side as the variable. So x is with negative 2, so I'm going to add a positive 2 to both sides. Okay? 9 through 11 says solve each equation and check your answers. So always look to see if I'm asking you to check your answers. So number 9, x plus 10 equals negative 6. So I'm going to isolate the variable, and I'm going to do that by adding the opposite. So I'm going to add a negative 10, which will make that go to 0. I'm going to add a negative 10. Negative 6 plus negative 10 is negative 16. So x equals negative 16. And then to check, I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to rewrite the original equation, which was x plus 10 equals negative 6. Okay? I'm going to substitute negative 16 in for x. Negative 16 plus 10 equals negative 6. So negative 16 plus 10 is negative 6. Negative 6 equals negative 6. Okay, so that checks. Number 10, again, I'm going to isolate the variable, so I always identify what the variable is. I'm going to add it, I'm going to write it as an addition problem like I did up here, because I find it easier to do that. In the long term, it'll be much easier to do that because the equations are going to get more and more complicated. So I have negative 8 equals x minus 2. I just rewrote it so we could see it better. I'm going to change it to an addition problem by adding the opposite. So I have negative 8 equals x plus negative 2. My variable is x, so I'm going to add the opposite to both sides. So I have a positive 2 that's going to make that go to 0, and a positive 2. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 equals x. Okay, I'm not finished because it also told me to check my answer. So it's negative 8. I'm going to rewrite the equation like the original equation. So negative 8 equals x minus 2. Negative 8 equals negative 6 minus 2. Okay, I'm going to add the opposite. Negative 6 plus negative 2 is negative 8. So negative 8 equals negative 8, and it checks. Okay. Number 11, I'm going to rewrite it as an addition problem by adding the opposite. So I get x plus 5 equals negative 2. I'm going to isolate the variable, and in this case my variable is x. I'm going to add the opposite of whatever is being added to it so I can isolate it, get it by itself. So the opposite of plus 5 is going to be a negative 5. So I'm going to add negative 5 to both sides to keep it balanced. The x is left alone over here. Negative 2 plus negative 5 is negative 7. Okay? I'm going to check it by substituting back in, and I rewrite the original problem, x minus negative 5 equals negative 2. I'm going to take the solution that I got, and I'm going to substitute it in for x. Negative 7 minus negative 5 equals negative 2. Okay? I'm going to change. Negative 7 plus a positive 5 is negative 2. Negative 2 equals negative 2, so it checks. I know it's a lot of steps for what looks like a simple problem, but I'm asking you to trust me to do them so that when our equations get very complicated, you still have the steps to fall back on and it's really easy for you. Okay, we're going to go to the next page. And I'm not going to do all of these with you, but I'm going to do a few of them with you. I want you to remember to, when you have subtraction, you're going to change right away, okay? And then follow the steps. Let's do a decimal one together, and let's do a fraction one together. And then I'm going to leave you to do the rest on your own. So let's do number 4 because it's a decimal. So the same steps, I'm going to identify my variable, which in this case is x. Okay, it's already an addition problem. So to isolate the x or get it by itself, I'm going to add the opposite of whatever is on the same side as it is. I'm going to add a negative 3.4. I'm going to add a negative 3.4. So 9.1 minus 3.4, I have to borrow, bring the decimal down, and I get 5.7 is equal to x. And it does tell us to check our answers, and I'm going to not have you check the answers for these right now, okay? I do want you to know how to do it, but I'm not going to make you do it right now, okay? Number 5, let's do number 5 because it's a fraction, okay? So since there's I'm going to isolate my variable is n. Since it's subtracting, I'm going to go ahead and change it to addition and make that a negative. I'm going to add the opposite to both sides, okay, so it's the same. My board's a little bit off, I apologize. Plus 3/8 plus 3/8. So this goes away, n equals 1/8 plus 3/8. When I add fractions, the denominator is going to stay the same, and I add the numerators together. 3 plus 1 is 4. So n is equal to 4/8, and then I have to check it. Does anything evenly divide into 4 and into 8? And the answer is yes, 4 does. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So n is equal to 1/2. Okay, I'm going to give you time to work the rest of these. I want you to stay focused. I want you to help each other if you need help, but not give each other answers. Help each other by using good math words and by helping with the questions. The very last page that's filled, that is 4, or I guess 7 word problems and the circle graph, you can wait and we can work those together because I want to see those equations. But the rest of these equations, you should be able to go ahead and work on your own. If you have trouble, like I said, help each other or ask me. Good luck, guys. Okay, guys, I want to recap real quick. So our learning target was to be able to solve addition and subtraction, but we changed them into addition equations, to be able to take a real world problem and write an equation and then solve it. And that last part of the learning target we're going to do together. There are some questions in your worksheet that you can start on, but we're going to do those in person together as a group. So go ahead and work on the first part of the learning target. If you can go ahead and do the second part of the learning target, but I want to check it together and kind of do that in a little bit. So, okay, thank you for your focus today.